Alrighty, tip number two. If there's one, there is two. Um, if you're playing any match, right? If you're playing any kind of online multiplayer, whether it be Call of Duty, um, whether it be, Halo, whether it be like Battlefield, uh, the one thing you'll always encounter, what tends to happen a lot is, you'll be engaging the enemy, right? You'll shoot, you're killing, you're fighting someone, you're shooting them, you get the kill, and then what happens is that not even like a second or two after you move to the next to move on, you end up getting shot by another enemy and you end up dying. I call this phenomenon trading. It's a pretty uh, common issue. You'll kill somebody, but then you'll immediately die, right? So it's basically when you're trading one death for every kill you get. The way to avoid that, I have found a really, really, really good rule of thumb to follow is to always assume that there's someone nearby every opponent you engage in, right? Um, I also call this concept the where's the second, right? So as soon as I kill somebody, I say to myself, all right, where's the second, right? Um, so rather than explaining further, I'm gonna go ahead and illustrate to you what I'm talking about. And once you get this down, it's gonna make your time a lot easier. I'm not saying you're not gonna die, but you'll definitely trade less if you do this, right? So we're here playing COD 4 Remastered. Not a bad game. It's nice for Activision to do this. I know not a lot of people liked it, but I liked it. It's good. I still think it's good now. It's just it's just not everyone's cup of tea. And hey, this is the game that started also. Why not? So we got our classic meta, the M16 with red dot, red tiger, stopping power, extreme conditioning, special grenades, M9. I have this set up on. So this is a private match, by the way. I have it set up on the map Crash. We're gonna be playing a little free for all, and I have some bots. I have the time limit to 5 minutes, and then the score limit's gonna be 25. So basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna show you what I'm talking about rather than explain myself. So we're gonna go and get started. Um, yeah, and so if you're someone that's concerned with KD ratio, the concept I'm going to show you is really going to help you out, and it's a really great habit to form, and it's going to save you a lot of trouble. So we're going to go ahead and get to it, and I'm going to show you how to apply this principle. So alrighty, okay. So the match is going to start. Alright, I'm going to move around, okay? Just being careful, being mindful, checking the corners. Alright, so I kill that person, and I don't immediately move. I'm going to check to see if there's someone nearby. Coast is clear, so we're going to go ahead and move. Alright, oh shit. I tried to put him there. Alright, so, yeah, so basically, as you see, I'm moving around, I'm chewing, I'm going from point A to point B. I'm constantly aiming my sights, always being mindful of the enemy. Alright. Okay, so I get that kill. Alright, where's the second? Where's the second? Alright, I see someone right there. Boom. There you go. So as you see, I don't just immediately move after I kill, right? What I want to do is I want to wait a second, right? Because, 9 times out of 10, there's someone, usually, like, even if it's like free-for-all, like, there's just, for whatever reason, there's just always someone around the corner, right? If you're patient enough, someone will come by, right? So, as you can see, I'm mindful, right? Sorry, you can probably hear the controller. I'll have to turn it off. But, right, so you see right here, alright, kill that guy. Where's the second? Where's the second? There he is. Right? And, I'm not saying you have to necessarily do this every single kill you get, but just, every so often, just make sure you pause, assess the situation, just say, okay, there's got to be someone else coming right now, especially with the way the spawn system works in this game. Right, so, I don't necessarily got to wait. I'm just going to move on. Point A to point B. Okay, I think I'm being shot at. Alright, there you go. Alright, I pause. Keep going. Alright. Alright, kill that person. Where's the second? Coast is clear. I'm going to move. Right? Now, I know I'm playing against bots, and I understand that lawn's a little different, but, the point is the same, right? It's just a really good habit to follow, so I'm gonna just try to finish the game out. Oh, I don't know how I didn't get that kill. Right, so, I mean, I understand that flow is a good thing, and it is really good to have flow. But just the way with online shooters, you really have to always stop, every second, just to be sure that no one's tracking or following you. So, all right, I'm gonna peek around this corner. All right, there's someone. Where's the second? There he is. Oh, that guy's there too. And I'm gonna. Oh, oh, there we go. Get the cover. Wait a second. Got that kill. Where's the second? Right? So you see that, I'm still dying, right? I'm not saying that I'm necessarily immune to just being killed, but you'll notice that, I'm not dying as much, right? I'm taking my time. I'm having a more situational awareness. Kill that guy. Where's the second? There he is. Right? And, it's not always just the second. There could be, like in this case, there's a third person nearby, all right? So, all right, there he is. Right? So it's not something you want to do, like, every second because, it's annoying to just have to pause. But, especially if you're in a high traffic area, you just want to stop for a second to, just to kind of see what's going on, right? So let's see right there, I kind of ignored it. I didn't assume there was one person next by or nearby, and I died. So this is why it's a really, really good rule of thumb to always assume there's someone nearby. Okay. Walk this building. Alright, I'm gonna peek up around this corner. Coast is clear. We're gonna go on top, get a little aerial view. Right, remember, watch out for scouts. It's always good to have, always be mindful of someone on the top. Okay, and by the way, regarding that video, ideally you want to have some type of vantage point yourself. Like, you always want to be on some type of overhead just so you can, see the area more. I personally recommend, especially on a map like this, you don't necessarily want to, like, see that building there? Like, that's the building that everyone goes on top of. You don't necessarily want to be right there. I would say, here, I'll actually just show you because the round's about to close right now, so. I'm going to go ahead and go to the building just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. Right, so I'm going to go in this building. Now, instead of going on top, I'm just going to go on the second story, right? And the reason for this is that, you can still get an aerial view. You can still kind of see the map, kind of just assess what's going on. But you're also protected from kill streaks and being naded or anything like that, right? So it's you still have enough cover to see the area. So usually if you're on some overhead position, and I just died right there. I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, so that's just something to keep in mind. Alright, so, second rule of thumb, when you're playing any FPS, right, this is not just Call of Duty, this really can apply to any, especially, particularly on online matches, and even, even in story modes or campaign missions. A really good rule of thumb is to just always assume there's someone nearby, and like I said, you're not necessarily going to not die, you're still going to get killed as you just saw in the match, but you're going to trade a lot less. So you'll have a more or less frustrating experience when you're playing.